Emily had always dreamed of a quiet life away from the noise and chaos of the city. When she found a small, picturesque town nestled deep in the mountains, she thought she had found her sanctuary. The town of Ashford was known for its serene beauty and the towering pine trees that surrounded it like sentinels. Emily quickly fell in love with the old cabin she purchased at the edge of the forest, its rustic charm and isolation offering her the peace she desperately craved. For the first few weeks, life in Ashford was everything she had hoped for. The townspeople were welcoming, the air was crisp and clean, and the sound of the wind whispering through the pines was soothing. She spent her days renovating the cabin and her evenings by the fireplace, finally feeling at ease. But one evening, as she was settling into bed, Emily heard something that made her heart skip a beat. It was a soft, almost imperceptible tapping at her window. She dismissed it as a branch swaying in the wind and tried to ignore the uneasy feeling that gnawed at her. The next morning, she found something strange on her front porch, a small, intricately folded paper crane. It was delicate, made from parchment that looked old and yellowed with age. There was no note, no indication of who might have left it. Puzzled, Emily placed it on her mantel and continued with her day. However, the following morning brought another crane, identical to the first. This time, it was perched on her windowsill. A cold shiver ran down her spine, but she tried to convince herself it was just a harmless prank. Days turned into weeks, and the cranes kept coming, each one appearing closer to her home, on her doorstep, the porch swing, the handle of her front door. Emily's unease grew with every new discovery. Who was leaving them, and why? Then, one night, the tapping returned, louder this time. Emily cautiously approached the window, but when she pulled back the curtain, there was nothing, only the dark outline of the forest. Yet, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Determined to uncover the truth, Emily decided to stay awake the next night and catch the person responsible. Armed with a flashlight and her phone, she sat in the dark, her eyes fixed on the windows. Hours passed, and just as she was about to give up, she heard it, a faint rustling outside. Emily's heart pounded as she crept toward the door. She flung it open, shining her flashlight into the darkness. The beam caught the glint of something small on the ground, another crane. But this time, there was something else, a whisper, so soft she almost missed it. "Help me," the voice was barely audible, carried on the wind. Terrified, Emily called out into the night, but there was no response. She slammed the door shut, her hands trembling. Was someone playing a cruel joke, or was there something more sinister at play? The following day, she visited the local library, hoping to find some history about the town and perhaps a clue to her mysterious visitor. The librarian, an elderly woman with kind eyes, hesitated when Emily mentioned the paper cranes. "There's an old legend," she began cautiously, "about a girl named Lily who lived in a cabin just like yours, nearly a century ago. They say she disappeared into the woods one night and was never seen again. But some claim her spirit lingers, trying to find her way back home." Emily felt a chill run through her. Could it be that these cranes were some kind of message from beyond? She returned to her cabin, the librarian's words echoing in her mind. That night, as she lay in bed, she heard the tapping again, followed by the faint whisper, "Help me." Unable to bear the suspense any longer, Emily decided to confront whatever or whoever was haunting her. She grabbed her coat and flashlight and stepped out into the night. The forest was eerily silent, the towering pines casting long, dark shadows. She followed the whispers, her breath visible in the cold night air. The sound led her deeper into the woods, where the trees grew denser and the light of her cabin was no longer visible. Emily felt a surge of fear but pressed on, driven by a strange compulsion to uncover the truth. Finally, she reached a small clearing. In the center stood an ancient, crumbling well, half hidden by overgrown ivy. As Emily approached, she noticed something fluttering at the edge, another crane. She picked it up, and as she did, a gust of wind whipped through the clearing, carrying the soft voice once more. "Find me," it whispered. Emily shone her flashlight into the well, her heart pounding. At first, she saw nothing but darkness. But then a faint glimmer caught her eye, a piece of white cloth snagged on the rough stones, deep inside the well. Her breath hitched as the realization hit her. With trembling hands, she called the police. The search was long and harrowing, but eventually they uncovered the remains of a young girl, hidden deep within the well. The town was in shock. Lily's disappearance had been a mystery for decades. The discovery brought a sense of closure to the town and to Emily. The cranes stopped appearing after that night, and the whispering in the pines faded away. But Emily knew she would never forget the fear that had gripped her, or the tragic story of the girl who had sought her help from beyond the grave. Though life in Ashford eventually returned to its peaceful routine, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that the woods were still watching, their ancient trees holding secrets that would never be fully uncovered. As she locked her door each night, she would glance at the mantel where the last crane sat, a silent reminder of the night she discovered that not all whispers are meant to be heard. If you enjoyed this story and want more spine-chilling tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Until next time, stay safe and keep your eyes open. The shadows are always watching.